So it's another pizza, and yeah. So it's gonna be another pizza and cinnamon bun or cinnamon roll adventure today. We're not gonna go too much in depth of making the pizza because we've already made it before, but we are going to try like a vegan or vegetarian frosting for our cinnamon buns. And you're gonna put about 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm just using a regular tablespoon, not a any kind of measuring device here, because it really doesn't matter. Yeast just needs a little bit of sugar to feed it and activate it, and probably about the same amount of yeast. Just give it a quick stir. It takes about 3 minutes if it's got the warmth it needs. And if you go too hot with it, it'll kill the yeast. Too cold, it will take forever to rise. But it may rise, if you go too cold and you don't have any more yeast to do anything with. You could always add a little bit of probably hot water to like a cold measuring cup. And just don't use as much water when you your yeast water when you add it to the mix. And it's 2 cups of flour per serving. So 1 pizza, 2 cups, 2 pizzas, 2 cups, 1 thing of cinnamon buns, 2 cups. So we're doing 4 cups. There's cup 4. About 3 minutes or so, you should see it kind of foaming up and getting little bubbles and looking frothy, You can wait a little longer, or you can just dump it like that. Put a little bit of olive oil in there, maybe about 2 tablespoons, 1 tablespoon per mix. Stir it up, and then we put it in the pot or pan or whatever you're using. Here it is. Mix it, and it mixes pretty fast. It's it doesn't take forever. You don't need to put it in a bread machine or mixer or whatever and have it knead the dough for hours. Although it doesn't take hours to do that. It does. Certain doughs. I'm getting my words mixed up here trying to do this. You got a kid just blabbering all over the place. Natalie on a breathing machine in there. I think I heard a phone ringing. But yeah, it takes probably less than 2 minutes to get your dough and kind of get it out of there. And you just cover it, you can use it instantly. This is an instant dough, but it also gets better if you let it rise for, up to like 6 hours or so. Cover it with something, saran wrap, an old plate like this. Maybe put it in a warm spot and let it rise. We'll most likely rise the cinnamon rolls a second time after we put them in the pan, but we won't do that for the pizza. See you in a few hours. It's been 2.5 hours, and look at there, it filled almost this whole entire bowl. That's a big bowl too. Oh, that's losing some air there. So as we move it, we need to add some more flour to it. Make sure it's not, ooh, that's super sticky. A lot of air in it. So let's definitely put some flour around it here, so it's a little bit less sticky on the hands as I go to try to get it out. I'll put some flour here too to set it in. Maybe a little bit more than that. Okay. Alright, let's see if it'll go down there. Most of it. Yep, we got a little bit on the bottom of the pan. Well, that's alright. We'll scrape it off, I guess. We don't even really have to. Kind of ball it up just slightly so we can cut it in half. Whoop. You got a camera stand right in front of you. There's always a possibility that something like that's going to happen. So let's just kind of figure out where half of it is, and right. Let's make 2 little balls and look. Okay, put that one in there. Actually, I'm going to use I think this slightly bigger piece for our cinnamon rolls here. So I'm really not going to show a whole lot of this. You just roll it out long and wide, as long and as wide as you can get it. Add your flour to it if it sticks to the whatever rolling pin or whatever you use. And if it starts breaking too much or something, that means you probably are done. You know, there's no like set size, I guess, with these guys. And then you roll it into a log. But of course you got to put your butter and your sugar and cinnamon on first. Then you roll it up, then probably cut it in half, which is going to make it easier to work with. And then you cut it into your little pieces, your cinnamon cinnamon roll pieces or whatever. Just check out our other video if you want to see how that goes. I'm going to stop here and say that we've had a little bit of problems with the cinnamon buns turning out a little bit too dry. So one of the methods I think to help with getting it more moist is, instead of using softened butter, use melted butter to kind of start the process of this absorbing that moisture, that butter inside of it, and that will help it, I believe, be a little bit more moist. Now we use Smart Balance, which used to have a vegan label on it, but it doesn't anymore. I'm assuming it should be vegetarian, if not vegan. And see, we melted it, and we use a spoon or whatever just to kind of hit every little spot there so it coats it pretty decently. Now I think on Natalie's recipe it calls for half a cup of sugar and what, about a tablespoon of cinnamon? Something around that. I don't think we've mastered the 100% proper amount of sugar here, because sometimes it's hard to get everything sweet enough, with at least without a frosting or something. And that's why we're going to do, or try our first attempt to do like a vegan frosting this time, like a vegan cream cheese frosting. We tried with real cream cheese and it was really good, and the same butter. Again, I'm not going to take a lot of time, just sprinkle it on, and you know, spoon or whatever, try to get it evenly coated. But do remember that which side you start to roll first, if it's the left side or whatever, and we'll have probably the most amount.
Don't mix your syringes with burns.
I made yeah, I don't have it rolled out yet.
So you mix the cinnamon and sugar together.
Yes, it's mixed together. Sometimes I'll do it without doing that. I'll just eye it. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it lacks some of that sweetness. That's why we're going to do this frosting, and another reason is because this is a vegan dough too, so it can get a little bit watery taste in the dough. So, you know, the frosting and adding more of this vegan butter, everything that can maybe cover up some of that wateriness is a good thing, I think. And now you just roll it into a ball. Now sometimes it'll stick. Hopefully, you know, it doesn't tear too much. You could always add a little dough to the little holes that tear. And everybody's messing up my video. So much noise, and that's what it's like to have 5 people living in one household. And only 4 of us are here right now, and one of them is in their room watching TV or sleeping. So I just rolled it around, wrapped it around like that after I got done rolling it. And this one was pretty sticky. It was sticking a lot to the bottom. That's why, you know, if you have a lot of time and you know what you're doing, you can flip the flour a few times. The dough, put a little flour on it, flip it back, put a little flour on it, and make it a little bit less sticky. But I didn't do that here, and it still turned out okay. You just had to work with it a little bit more, and, you know, be a little bit more careful not to tear it. We're gonna butter this guy, and even do the edges. Make it. See what did I tell you about my videos being messed up? Just have to record everything, I guess, so we don't have to do this over again. So we coat this in some kind of butter, vegan butter, whatever. You could probably put Pam. We want butter at the bottom too. Let's just put a few little chunks here, even though it's kind of wet already. We need to spread that around a little bit better. So we're gonna just kind of coat it too with sugar. And now I probably can't turn the camera on because my And we have to be extra careful with cinnamon because too much kind of concentrates in one area. Just put a little cinnamon here and it'll make it a little bit bitter. That's probably enough. What I've been doing is putting just maybe a tablespoon of bourbon at the bottom to help it be extra moist, but Natalie thinks that that's kind of ruined the taste of them, and I think it could be just too much cinnamon sometimes, making it a little bit bitter. But we'll see. If these are still bad without the bourbon, maybe next time we'll try it with the bourbon again and a little bit less cinnamon. So I want to cut our dough in half and try to bring it over here. And we're gonna cut, you know, the cinnamon rolls out. See if I can do it here. And then just put them on the pan like that until they're kind of packed or until you run out of dough. All right, so there we go. Pretty tightly packed this time. Sometimes you have a little more, sometimes you have a little bit less. So the next trick to making sure these guys are moist is to dab softened butter on top, right there where it rolls, you know, the dough rolls on itself. I'll probably demonstrate it here. Just put a little on there, kind of make sure it hits on top of all those little areas where it could go down in between the rolls. So yep, that's basically how you do it. That's what it looks like, and she's good to go. You can put them in the oven right now, or you can let them rise again, and they're gonna probably be pretty big when we let them rise for a little while. I'm gonna take a break, waiting to do dinner, and we're going to pick some beauty berries. We got some really close, and we got some a really long way away, you know, on the other side of our property. Well, let's go ahead and get what we can get. How are we supposed to pick them? Just knock them off the stem? Or just cut, you know, I don't know, maybe we're just supposed to pull them off the stem. I could use that to root one or two more beautyberry plants probably. There she goes, and there's a lot of green ones in here too. Hopefully they're okay to mix with the other ones. Might take a long time to separate 1,000. Yeah, plus berries. We got some from the first tree, a shrub. A lot of purple, there's two shrubs. I didn't even get them all off of the second one because I got ate up with mosquitoes. This is why I haven't done this earlier previously. Another couple over here and over there. There's some really bright purple ones over there. So that's about 4 shrubs there. Got several pounds too, so I don't know by the time we clean it off and make juice or whatever if it's going to be enough. So let's go ahead and get some more. We're gonna freeze it anyway, so if we got more than we need, we can use it. Here's some growing in this raised bed. My first one. Look at how massive the berries are and how dark they are. They almost look different, probably because they're still constantly getting nutrients from the breakdown of all this sticks and pine needles and leaves and stuff like that. I've got maybe 5-8 pounds before washing them. And that didn't even take half of these guys. And there's plenty more here. We could get double easily, if not triple. We did a video the other day about people complaining about not keeping any for the wildlife. And I guess they're not really eating it here. There's so many other things that wildlife are eating. But that doesn't mean you can't get some cuttings or go to a native plant nursery and buy a bunch of these. Put them out. Wildlife would never get all of these extra plants had you not planted them right. So a lot of these are wild. A lot of them are from me rooting them in the ground or in raised beds and in pots. Here that has some up to like 12 or 13 foot in the air. I want to leave it, you know, I left a few that are super low to the ground, so things that aren't birds, you know, wildlife that are low to the ground, they can still get some. And this guy here is just super high, so birds that feel like they may be unprotected or something low to the ground, they can go 12 foot in the air there and sit on something, vines, that mulberry tree, autumn olive, and just eat to their heart's content. Right? I mean, look at that. And I'll try this season just to see, after these guys are about done, you know, if it appears that wildlife are eating them later, you know, Possibly when other fruits, muscadines or whatever, have already thrown their fruit, We'll see. One over there where I put that chestnut earlier this season. I think I do remember it now. I was going to say I didn't remember it being there. Oh, I about tripped on a log. But I think there's one or two over there. And I may have planted one. We couldn't fit all of them in this little water bowl, but we're kind of soaking them, kind of washing them, see if any stink bugs or anything come out of them. Make sure we got all the leaves and debris out. And we're going to put them in Ziplocs and freeze them after we strain the water out. There they are. Still some stuff I can pick out of these, but they're washed. And we should get back to our main meal today. There's the pizza dough. And it's not just gonna come out. Right, we got it out, and we're not gonna film all the rolling and putting it in. Oh my God, I can't even think about what I'm saying because I got so many people blabberjawing here. What big surprise, right? There she is. She just needs to go in the pan now. I mean, in the oven. Clean this mess up, JJ.
You made the mess.
Oh. Why don't you clean it up for us so we can make some frosting?
No, you.
Time for the frosting. Vegan, vegetarian. So let's get some vegan butter in here. I don't know, 1/4 to 1/2 cup. We just kind of eyeball it like I did last time. And I used, like I said, I used like Philadelphia cream cheese last time. But that wasn't vegan or vegetarian. So powdered sugar, about 1/2 cup, right, Natalie? That's where we're gonna start. For like vanilla flavor, we're gonna do this Cooper's Mark vanilla bourbon, which is a little bit lower proof than some of the other stuff we have. And when I tried to do just like a powdered sugar and bourbon frosting before with like 90 or 100 proof bourbon, it was a little bit too hot. But this just enough to give it kind of a vanilla flavor, I think, just like that, just a drizzle. So today we're going to try the Violife original cream cheese alternative. Just like cream cheese. Well, we'll see, I guess. So this is about 2/3 or so of the package. Right, we're going to put start with the slowest settings because it might sling it. And you can see when you start this, it does get super yellow from that butter, but it'll lighten up a little bit. We ended up using the whole thing of cream cheese and probably closer to 1 cup of powdered sugar. Natalie said it wasn't quite sweet enough, and it wasn't quite sweet enough. And then we had to try to balance the butter, and adding that last, 20, 25, 30% of cream cheese sort of balanced the butter a little bit better. And now it's perfect. All right, these guys got done rising, and I put a little bit of brown sugar on top and a little bit of cinnamon, and that's going to the oven at 350. Here's the pizza before we put our edge sauce around it, our crust flavoring, garlic, oregano, maybe some Parmesan. This is it, fresh out of the oven, and I'll tell you guys a trick. If you can flip this on a pan, loosen it up, it will cool a lot faster. But I'm not gonna do it like right out of the oven. I'll wait at least a few minutes because if it falls hard and it burns you, it's not good. Had that happen the other day. Basically what happened was part of it came loose and fell, and several other pieces didn't, so it was like a crumbled mess. Flipped it. Some of the stuff come loose here. It's super moist on the bottom. Looks really good. But this, we've made these before on camera. We've made the pizza before on camera, but we haven't made this frosting, and that's the big thing. So what is it going to look like, taste like with this frosting on it? All right, there she is. That's a little bit runny, not quite as thick or dry as I would prefer, but I have no idea what it tastes like on this. This is probably something we're going to have to use a fork with. It's probably going to be too messy to use fingers. What do you think with the vegan cream cheese?
It's pretty darn good. It's missing the zinginess of real cream cheese,
But it's close.
but it's pretty good.
And you like it, JJ?
Yeah.
Is it the best one you ever had? All right. So we ended up getting about 8 1/4, 8 1/2 cups of beauty berries. Got them in the freezer here. And that's 2, almost 3 batches of jelly. We can get some more or mix it with some blueberries or muscadines or something maybe and make another batch. For these guys here, in my opinion, if cream cheese, real cream cheese is a 5 when you make it with this similar recipe, this is definitely a 4, 4 1/2. But the kids definitely noticed a little bit of something different, probably the not real cream cheese that we used, and they're a little bit hesitant to eat it. Charlie, let's see if you like it.
Okay.
Take a big bite here. Hurry up for the camera.
I'm trying, mister.
Look at the camera.
Mmm.
Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Best one you ever had?
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo!